Welcome back. Former FBI Director James Comey expected to surrender today to authorities after being indicted on 2 charges. Those charges include false statements within jurisdiction of the legislative branch and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. Both alleged crimes relate to Comey's testimony during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing back in 2020 on the investigation into ties between Russia and President Trump's 2016 campaign. Here's a flashback from that hearing.
Mr. McCabe, who works for you, has publicly and repeatedly stated that he leaked information to the Wall Street Journal and that you were directly aware of it and that you directly authorized it.
I can only speak to my testimony. I stand by what the testimony you summarized that I gave in May of 2017.
So your testimony is you've never authorized anyone to leak.
I'm not going to characterize Andy's testimony, but mine is the same today.
All right, he won't characterize his testimony, but it's the same as what he said in 2017. Yes, and by the way, I've known for years that the Russia collusion story was a made-up lie. And now we are looking at investigators wanting to know why the FBI told the media about it. Comey is set to be arraigned on October 9th in Alexandria, Virginia. President Trump responded to the indictment on Truth Social this morning, writing this: James Dirty Cop Comey was a destroyer of lives. He knew exactly what he was saying and that it was a very serious and far-reaching lie for which a very big price must be paid. FBI Director Kash Patel wrote also on X moments ago. He writes this: the wildly false accusations attacking this FBI for the politicization of law enforcement come from the same bankrupt media that sold the world on Russiagate. It's hypocrisy on steroids. Their baseless objections tell us now more than ever that we are precisely over the target and will remain on mission until completion. FBI Director Kash Patel told me about all the weaponizations earlier this summer on Sunday Morning Futures. Watch.
I can speak to the folks that were in our seats, our predecessors, and they intentionally failed the American public by putting on the biggest DC deception game we've ever seen. They said the FBI was the most storied institution for law enforcement, and it was. And it will be again very soon. But when the likes of Comey and McCabe and Strzok and company came in here with the James Bakers of the world and intentionally lied to a federal court only to rig a presidential election by lying to the American public and using taxpayer dollars, likely illegally, to fund this entire operation and then withhold exculpatory information from a federal court that I used to appear before to manhunt terrorists, that's what broke the FBI. And then when they were caught, they lied about it.
Joining me now is former federal prosecutor and Fox News contributor Andrew McCarthy. Andy, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Hi, Maria.
First, give us your reaction to the indictment.
Well, I don't think there's a case. You know, the things that Kash Patel that you just played, that he was talking about, that you and I have spoken about for years, Maria, the Russiagate stuff, I'm as big a critic of that probably as there is. I wrote a book about it. I think it was a disgrace, and history will remember it that way. This indictment is not about that, and it seems to be premised on something that's not true, which is that McCabe said that Comey authorized him to leak to the Wall Street Journal. If you look closely at what McCabe said was that he directed a leak to the Wall Street Journal and told Comey about it after the fact. So it's true that Comey never authorized it in the sense of okaying it before it happened. So I don't see how they can make that case.
What about the leaking in general? I mean, what about leaking a story that they may have known was a lie to the media? Because if you're the director of the FBI, you need the evidence to say, yeah, I mean, you know, for years, congressmen and lawmakers were trying to understand, Devin Nunes, John Radcliffe, trying to understand what's the origins of this investigation. So what was the origins of Russia collusion with Trump? And so they never really had any evidence of it, but they leaked it to the press?
Yeah, but that's not what this case is about. I totally agree with you if you were talking about the information that was provided to the FISA court that claimed that Trump was in collusion with the Kremlin. But that's not what this case is about. What this case is about is Comey is accused of lying because what Ted Cruz said, and this, yeah, right, and what Cruz said, and I think this was just a garble on his part, was that Comey authorized McCabe to orchestrate the leak. And what the Inspector General found, and this isn't even just what the Inspector General found, this is McCabe's own version of events.
Right.
McCabe said that he directed the leak and he told Comey about it afterwards. Now, they have a dispute about what exactly McCabe told Comey afterwards and whether Comey was approving or disapproving of it. But the charge is that Comey authorized the leak, and he didn't authorize the leak.
I see. Well, the judge assigned to this case is a 2021 Biden appointee, Judge Michael Nachmanoff. What are your thoughts on that and what the grand jury will be looking at?
Well, I think it's a shame, and I should preface this, Maria, just so cards are on the table. I know Comey for 40 years. I like him. I was in the office with him. I've been a pretty severe critic of his throughout the Russiagate stuff, but on legal stuff, I try to be clinical and call it as I see it.
Yeah.
So I think this judge should throw the case out, but I'm afraid that he won't throw the case out because everyone will say he's a Biden judge and the fix is in. So it's probably, I mean, even though I wouldn't want to go through it myself, it's probably better if there's a trial and the jury acquits him, but this case should be thrown out.
I see, because of what McCabe said. What about the other charge of obstruction, Andy?
Yeah, the obstruction charge is based on the premise that Comey lied to the committee, and the lie to the committee is premised on count one, which is what we've been discussing. So I think if the perjury count goes, the obstruction count has to go as well.
I see. And in terms of any other potential criminality in this huge story of Russia collusion, how it ripped the country apart, is there any other criminality that you see, Andy?
Well, I think at this point, Maria, it'd be hard to indict a lot of this stuff because of the statute of limitations. You know, most of the things we've been talking about occurred in, 2016, 2017. They went after Comey on this because it's within the 5-year, barely within the 5-year statute of limitations, which runs, I think, next Tuesday. Right. So it's going to be hard to reach back into the real problem here, which was the Russiagate stuff and the misrepresentations that were made to the FISA court in that connection. But that happened in 2016-17. It was thoroughly investigated by Durham. I know people are unhappy with what the bottom line of all that was, but it's very hard at this point to go back that far and have a case that's a live case. And
of course, that's something that Carter Page would like to see, since he was totally tangled up in that FISA abuse. Andy, great to get your take on this. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Maria.
All right, Andy McCarthy joining us.